On the way home, we suddenly met a mysterious girl. This story happened a year ago. My friend and I were getting ready to go home after school. We got drunk that day and called a car. She took us on a road I've never been on before. Everyone in the car knew this road was haunted, but we weren't afraid at the time. We just wanted to go home early. When we were halfway there, the driver saw a girl in white on the side of the road. He stopped the car and brought her up. She was sitting in the back seat of the car. She claimed her name was Mary. When we saw her dress, we were shocked. It was a white dress. She also claimed her husband dumped her on their wedding night. She said she wanted to take a ride. We waited for a long time, but we didn't see her. When I was looking at her, I was shocked because her eyes were bleeding. I told my friend in secret that the girl might be a ghost. When I finished my sentence, she stared at me with her scary white eyes from the rearview mirror and asked if we were talking about her. I was so scared. We asked the driver to pull over, but he refused. He insisted on taking us to the destination. One of my female friends was scared and cried in the car. That's when the girl began to say the names of all of us. We never told her our names. How did she know? We were so scared. Now everyone in the car is shaking. We'd been driving for about 10 minutes. It was getting brighter outside. We turned around and looked at the back seat. She was gone. When I got home, I thought about what had just happened. Did we drink too much and have an illusion? But when I looked in the mirror, I saw a scratch on my neck. Don't go out alone at night because you don't know what's going to happen. It happened when I was 23 years old. I had just broken up with my boyfriend. I was about to move to another city. I wanted to change a place and start over. It was around 3 a.m. I was driving through a small town. On the way, my car was running out of gas. I decided to stop and refuel. There was no one in the gas station, but self-service gas stations can still be used. I was watching my phone while refueling. I didn't notice a truck parked next to the gas station. Until I finished refueling and put my phone in my pocket, I saw a man staring at me. I smiled at him. I turned around and there was a trunk lid. At this time, I saw 4 people again. There were 2 people on each side. I was a little scared. I just wanted to get in the car and leave. When I went to pull the handle, they suddenly attacked me. I screamed and struggled desperately, but I still couldn't escape. 2 of them pulled me to the back seat of the truck. The other 2 pushed me in. I was dragged to their legs. I'm still trying to escape, but it's hard to leave. They're too heavy. I can't move. I cried. I've never been so weak in my life. I started yelling at them with my hands. I thought if they killed me, there would be evidence in my nails. They parked the car in front of a hotel. They carried me into a room. I started screaming again. The oldest looking man started hitting me. He told me to be quiet. One of them said if I were a good person, they wouldn't hurt me. They pushed me down on a bed. They tied my hands with a belt and a rope. I was very scared. I cried and said as long as they let me go, I won't say anything. I won't tell anyone. They started talking in another language, a language I didn't understand. I looked around the room. I saw a bag and a beer can. A lot of beer cans. It looked like they had been in the room for a while. I really don't want to say what they did to me. Someone said they wanted some beer. They decided to leave the youngest man in my room. The other 4 left. There was only one man in the room who was about my age. I asked him if I could use the bathroom. He untied my rope. I got up and rushed to the door. I pushed the door open. He grabbed my arm. I screamed, "Let me go." So he let go. His eyes were wide open. I started running towards the road. I stopped a car. The driver was an old man. He was confused. He shook the window and shouted, "What are you doing?" I told him right away. I was kidnapped. I need help. He drove me to the police station. I changed my clothes there. They asked me to go to the hospital for a checkup. They found the evidence left on me. To be honest, I just want to take a shower and go home. I just want to see my mother. They caught those people that day. They were all brothers. They said they were drunk. They kidnapped me with alcohol. But in the end, they didn't say how they were going to deal with me. In the end, I moved out of this city. Even though I knew they were still in prison, what happened still made me have nightmares. My brother was going to the bathroom. He heard a scary voice. It happened a month ago. That day, he was sitting in the classroom listening to the teacher's lecture. He suddenly wanted to go to the bathroom. He raised his hand and told the teacher. The teacher said, "Of course." So my brother stood up and walked out of the classroom. He went to the bathroom. When he was eating, he suddenly heard a boy mumbling something in his ear. He didn't understand what it was, so he didn't care. After that, he was about to go back to the classroom. At this time, he heard a voice again. I don't know how to describe that voice. It's like someone wants to say something but can't say it. It's not Chinese. Maybe it's a foreign language. But he thought it was more like an evil spell. The more he thought about it, the more he was afraid. So he immediately ran back to the classroom. When he got to the classroom, he heard the teacher ask him, "Why are you crying?" My brother was confused. He subconsciously touched his face. He was scared, as he was indeed crying. He explained everything that had just happened. Then he went back to his seat. But his friend said to him, "Do you know that your story also happened to a friend of mine? He also told us about his experience, but it's been a long time since I heard from him." My brother was completely shocked. It turns out that it's not just him who has this experience. He wants to know how his friend is doing now, who is talking in a low voice. Don't camp in remote areas because you don't know what you're going to encounter. This happened to my friend. The three of them were camping in a place south of Guangxi. It was autumn, so it got dark very early. It got dark at about 5 o'clock. The three of them set up a fire. They sat around the fire and ate and chatted. Everything was fine at first, but they heard a strange sound at this time. According to my friend, it sounds like a bird's cry, but it's definitely not a bird's cry, because it doesn't sound like an animal's cry. They also heard the sound of something moving nearby, but I don't know what it is. After a while, they went to bed. Everything was fine at first, until my friend was woken up in the middle of the night. He saw his hands out of his tent. He heard a strange breathing sound. It's like the sound of your nose breathing through your mouth, and there seems to be something stuck in it. He was very scared. He was so scared that he didn't dare to speak. He secretly woke up his sister. Neither of them dared to make any sound. After a while, the handprint disappeared. The next morning, they wanted to leave there as soon as possible. So they started packing up and getting ready to leave. My friend looked around the tent. He found a lot of footprints that he had never seen before. It extended all the way to the nearby woods, but it didn't leave the camp completely. He and his sister are not the kind of people who lie, so I believe what they said is true. Fortunately, that thing left. Otherwise, I might not be able to see my friend.